The original architecture of the internet was designed as a borderless, decentralized mesh. Information flowed freely between equals, without a central authority dictating the routing. On June 11, 2018, the repeal of net neutrality compromised that open architecture, allowing internet service providers to legally prioritize specific traffic. This graph illustrates how data packets are routinely throttled. Instead of peer-to-peer routing, digital traffic is forced through massive tech conglomerates. Whoever controls these hubs dictates the flow of information, shaping user attention and capturing the underlying data. The digital realm has transitioned from a democratized landscape into a modern colonial matrix, governed by corporate chokepoints. This hub-and-spoke centralization extends far beyond digital infrastructure. We see a similar top-down structure in global governance. Inside the United Nations, the structural bottleneck is the Security Council. Here, the interests of 193 nations are subjected to the will of 5 states. This veto architecture prevents real consensus. It allows a single state to override majority accountability, which frequently results in global gridlock. The financial equivalent operates through elite hubs like the International Monetary Fund, where fiat currency generation and debt traps manage the economies of developing nations. This data visualization shows the quantitative output of this centralized financial routing. Disparate global capital streams are aggressively siphoned into a dense apex point, leaving almost half the world's wealth firmly in the hands of the top 1%. This vast concentration of resources and endless political gridlock are the entirely predictable outcomes of a centralized hub-and-spoke global architecture. To resolve this, we have to replace central hubs with a peer-to-peer trustless architecture, effectively building a new operating system for civilization. Traditional representative democracy relies on electing a single politician. Structurally, this creates a single point of failure that is easily captured by lobbying interests. This architectural blueprint diagrams the global AI-powered governance system, or GAIGS. It relies on a 3-layer stack, a base blockchain ledger, an execution layer of smart contracts, and an AI coprocessor. The governance layer operating on this stack is known as liquid democracy. Digital identities secured by individual private keys allow citizens to hold dynamic voting tokens. This decentralizes the process of granting consent. This visualization shows how, instead of casting a static ballot into a black box every 4 years, citizens deploy tokens directly to local community hubs. They delegate them fluidly based on policy issues, bypassing central representatives. These hubs then federate upward to form global consensus, ensuring power originates from the edges. Because each node verifies the transaction history of the ledger, altering the vote would require an attacker to compromise more than half the decentralized network, making the top-down rigging seen in centralized systems structurally unfeasible. True sovereignty is restored when the structural capacity for a central authority to override the network is removed from the protocol. Currently, citizen wealth is often moved into opaque fiat treasuries, where real-time accountability is impossible for the average taxpayer. The technological alternative is migrating global public budgets and welfare routing to an open, decentralized blockchain ledger. This comparison illustrates a public infrastructure project. On the left, a black box treasury obscures tax funds. On the right, public funds sit visibly on an open ledger, secured inside a smart contract perimeter. The funds remain mathematically locked until specific community verification signals are triggered and recorded. Every single transaction is permanently logged with an immutable timestamp and a verified vendor ID. Under the current regime, offshore networks are used to obscure stolen wealth from the public view. On a public blockchain, every movement of capital is visible. Any attempt to siphon or misallocate funds leaves a public, immutable mathematical trace. In the GAIGS framework, the transparency of the ledger and the rigidity of smart contracts remove the secrecy that systemic corruption depends on. Accountability is encoded into the routing of the money itself. A major concern of the modern age is artificial intelligence being monopolized by elite hubs to create an inescapable surveillance state. However, open-source decentralized AI can be deployed as a transparent public utility, rather than operating as a corporate or governmental black box. This diagram maps out the first role of this AI, acting as a civic coprocessor. It is designed to synthesize mass civic data, processing thousands of individual citizen inputs to output summarized policy options based on raw data. The second function is acting as a relentless, automated auditor. It continuously scans the public blockchain ledger, instantly highlighting any vendor network that displays financial anomalies or monopoly behavior. Currently, discovering corrupt vendor networks or missing trillions often takes investigative journalists years of work to uncover. When open-source AI is tethered to a decentralized ledger, the surveillance model inverts. Instead of the state surveilling the citizens use the network to surveil the state. Civilization is currently at a crossroads regarding the deployment of AI and global ledgers. If these technologies remain centralized within the old colonial matrix, they will construct the infrastructure for a permanent digital dictatorship. Deploying these tools on a peer-to-peer mesh network strips power from the hubs and distributes it directly to the margins. Humanity now possesses the engineering capability to replace trust in fallible politicians with cryptographic proof and algorithmic efficiency. Adopting this decentralized architecture represents a structural departure from modern digital colonialism, replacing central points of failure with a distributed system of truth. Dismantling the legacy matrix requires active participation in building and adopting parallel, transparent infrastructure. Subscribe to the channel to learn how these decentralized technologies are being engineered and deployed today.